Let's talk about Venezuela. That's right. Let's talk about Venezuela. Is the United States at war with Venezuela? Did Venezuela pick a fight with the United States? No, it did not. Fast answer, quick answer. There is no war with Venezuela. The only war with Venezuela is an imaginary war, which is being fought between the two ears of Donald Trump in his tiny brain. Let's review the facts, shall we? Venezuela is ranked number 50 in military strength around the world. They have 63,000 soldiers total, 63,000 military personnel. They have 24 F 16s, which they bought back in the 1980s and which probably are falling apart by now. Beyond that, they have some Russian jet fighters and they do have some anti aircraft equipment. The United States, on the other hand, is ranked number one in the world militarily with 2.1 million military personnel, of which 1.3 million are active personnel. Uh, in opposition to Venezuela's tiny fleet of jets, the United States has 13,000 aircraft, and of course a gigantic military budget, the largest in the world by far. So, would it make any sense for Venezuela to pick a fight with the United States? No, it wouldn't. Did they pick a fight with the United States? No, they didn't. What we are seeing on TV is the bombing, the indiscriminate bombing out of the water of boats which are supposedly engaged in the drug trade. But we'll never know because the bombs that hit them, the missiles that hit them, are so powerful that those boats are blown to smithereens. And if there's any evidence at all, it sinks to the bottom of the ocean. And I have not seen in the news any indication that there's been an effort to find out what was on those boats or who was on those boats. I did read in the news that in situations like this, where missiles are being rained down on unconfirmed targets, there's a 25% error rate. And so we can assume at this point that we have bombed, the United States has bombed innocent fishermen and people who are out on boats recreationally, just having fun in the water. It's possible that some of the boats were engaged in a drug trade, but again, Venezuela is not a major exporter of drugs compared to, say, Colombia. What Venezuela does have, and what I believe Donald Trump covets, is oil reserves. I just did a little research, and at current rates of consumption, with the export level being what it is, Venezuela has 1,374 years worth of oil in the ground. Uh, Donald Trump is committed to fossil fuels. He loves coal. He loves oil. He hates windmills because he thinks windmills are whale killers and bird slaughterers. And if he says if you want to see a bird graveyard, just look underneath that windmill. And I don't believe he's really fond of solar either. There's been a push to go back. Well, his mantra during one of his mantras during the campaign was "drill, baby, drill." And indiscriminate drilling in Alaska and other places are just what he would like to see. There was a promise to the folks in West Virginia and other parts of the coal region that those jobs would be restored and mines would be reopened, and there'd be a new emphasis on coal. Uh, so what I believe is happening in Venezuela, it's a setup to get the oil. It's a ploy to get Venezuela's oil. Right now, 90% of the oil that's exported from Venezuela goes to China. And a certain amount, I believe, is said 100,000. I'm not sure of the number anymore. 100,000 gallons or barrels, or what barrels it'd be. Uh, I should have done research more carefully, but a fraction of it goes through Chevron to the United States. And I believe that Trump would like to see more of that oil exported to the United States, either either legitimately or seized under the pretext of war. So that's what's happening in Venezuela, vis-a-vis the war situation. There's no war. What we have is a president who is a draft dodger. He claimed he had bone spurs. He had a doctor on his side when he was a rich young man who manufactured an excuse for him not to serve in Vietnam. And instead, he played at being a soldier in a military academy where he dressed up in fancy fake military outfits and pretended to be a soldier. Uh, yeah, bone spurs. Right, right, right. And from the bone spurs, beyond that, he's claimed to be like the most fit president around, that he's in superb physical condition. He's had his doctors claim that he's a great physical specimen. It's pretty clear that he's lied about his weight, he's lied about his height. And if bone spurs are a problem, then it seems like being on the golf course 1 out of 4 days would be a problem for him. Of course, our overweight and out of shape president doesn't walk the golf course. God forbid he should get that kind of exercise. He rides around in a golf cart and hops out to swing at the ball and cheat on a score. That's kind of his golf thing. But getting back to the main topic at hand, um, no, we are not at war with Venezuela. Venezuela would be foolhardy to choose war with the United States. This is the action of someone who is throughout his lifetime been a bully, going back to his school years, school his his classmates have spoken of his bullying in the school, and we certainly know about his bullying in the business environment where countless suppliers and contractors were stiffed. They didn't get paid. Instead, they were hauled into court. And it was made quite clear through legal bullying that they weren't going to get paid for the pianos that they supplied, or the paint that they supplied, or the construction materials that they supplied, or the design expertise that they supplied, or the architectural plans that they supplied. Many, many, many lawsuits were filed in a bullying fashion in the court against people to whom Donald Trump owed money. And so been a pattern of bullying. And there's no bully militarily like one who hasn't served in the military. Uh, Presidents who did serve in the military have a tendency to avoid war at all costs because they know what the cost of war is. They know the pain and the suffering involved. To indiscriminately rain missiles down on unidentified boats in the Caribbean, it's a war crime. Make no mistake about it. It is a war crime. We have a war criminal in the White House. Not our first war criminal. George W. Bush also, with his mistaken war against Iraq and Afghanistan, was also uh, guilty of war crimes. That was in response to 9/11, in which 15 of the 19 terrorists aboard the jets that crashed into the World Trade Center were actually from Saudi Arabia. But because of the Bush family's close ties to the Saudi royal family, there was never any chance of going to war with Saudi Arabia or holding them accountable for their terrorism, or for their school system in which young Saudis were taught to hate Americans. That whole thing got swept under the rug, and instead, it was a convenient excuse to fight with Iraq and Afghanistan, leading to you know hundreds of thousands of casualties and billions and billions of wasted dollars, wasted lives. And what we're seeing now in the Caribbean is kind of a similar situation. There's no reason to be bombing these boats, and having bombed them, uh, there should be uh, there should be some proof that they were actually involved in a drug trade. And even if they were involved in a drug trade, uh, that's not a war situation. That is a situation where if the boat comes in within our territorial waters, the Coast Guard would intercept the boat and board the boat and search the boat and arrest anyone who is trying to transport drugs. You don't assume that a boat out in the open waters, in international waters, you don't assume that that boat has drugs aboard and then kill the people on that boat and destroy their boat. It's a war crime. So, is there a war with Venezuela? No, there's not. The only conflict with Venezuela is manufactured in Donald Trump's deranged brain. This is the fractured headlines, and we'll catch you on the next video.